welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of December 9th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Dominguez, and with me today, two individuals that both wished me a happy birthday a few days ago.
Happy birthday, Stephen. I'm Benjamin Daniel Ellis. Is exactly how I said it.
I'm Devon Kraft.
Heyo, what's up, guys?
Birthday again.
Screw you, Stephen.
Now let's talk about me for a while.
Might as well.
All right. Oh man, this past weekend, I'll just get right into it. This past weekend was a whirlwind. Starting Friday, moving all the way through all of Sunday. So first of all, it was my birthday on Saturday, the 6th, which was also the day of my daughter's first sleepover because she's turned 11. So because of that, I did my celebration a day early, Friday night. And Ben, you were there.
I was.
Yeah,
I was there.
We went out. We ate some food with Greg's wife and Greg. Or no, Christina's husband and Christina. That's the way I was supposed to say it. Dang. Did it wrong.
Get it right.
I got to get it. Oh, and also we're supposed to remind Greg to take the chicken and put it in the crock pot. Because apparently he forgets to do that when he's listening to the podcast. What a time. We went out to this little, it felt like a hole-in-the-wall place in Santa Margarita, and I had some ribs that were the best. They were so good. Anyways, we ate.
Yeah.
We drank.
I had shrimp. It was really good shrimp.
Yeah. And then we played, was it Ransom Notes?
Yeah.
Which
was a gift to, I got it as a gift at one point, and then I looked at the box. I don't, if anybody listening gave it as a gift to me, I apologize. I hadn't played it until now, but I looked at the box and it said ages 17 and up. So yeah, I don't really hang out, like my son's 12.
You don't hang out with people over 17? Is that what you were saying?
Not very often. It's very rare. And so this was an opportunity where, like, hey, everybody came back to my house afterwards. Here's this game I've never never tried before. Let's give this a shot. I probably have played it once before, but it was I hope you liked it.
It was a lot of fun. And to explain to Devon, we couldn't go back to my house. No. We couldn't go back to our house, my house, because my parents were here with the kids, and it wasn't late enough yet. Like, I thought dinner was going to go longer for some reason. So after dinner, Ben, you graciously offered up your house for us to hang out at, and so that's what we did. And Ransom Notes, which first time I played it, but it's pretty fun. I mean, we come from that era. I think all of us at one time probably had those little magnet words that we put on our fridge and like made poems and dirty things as everyone was drinking, because that was when we were in our mid-20s. Those were pretty popular. So this kind of gamifies that, where there's a prompt, and then you have a whole handful of these magnets with the words on them, and you just gotta, try to do your best to make this prompt. And it does sound like Ransom Notes or of sorts. You see in the cartoons and stuff of you cut up a piece of newspaper clippings, the letters and magazines and stuff that doesn't exist anymore, right? Newspapers and magazines, are those aren't real anymore, are they?
They're still out there.
Are they still out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, dude. Take a look around. Like, go to a store, go to like Vaughn's or whatever, and just take a look around. You'll see some stuff.
Well, apparently, they're still printing The Onion as a newspaper. Because I watched a parody they did of Jubilee, which I don't know if you're familiar, is the website or the YouTube channel where they have one person debate 20 people. Have you ever seen those?
I've seen that kind of, yeah.
There's one person who's who's the main person at a table in the middle, and then everybody else disagrees with them. And then one person will come up. It's whoever can get to the table first will start debating, and then the other people vote when they want that person to stop, and then someone else can run up and join the table. They're interesting. They do them with
because it sounds very Squid Games.
Well, some of the things go viral depending on what people say. There have been a few where it was like the person in the middle was a liberal and everybody else were like conservative or MAGA. They did one recently with Tim Miller, who's someone I watch on YouTube, who's a liberal commentator, and he did it against a bunch of MAGA people. It can get kind of heated, and there's some frustrating things, of course, because they're politics. But The Onion did a parody of that, where it was one person who was saying everybody should get a subscription to The Onion, and then everybody else was like coming up and debating them. And of course, since The Onion, it's like ridiculous. And because the guy's like, you should give the thing a gift to your, the subscription as a gift to your friends. And one guy's like, well, that assumes I have friends. How can you even make that assumption? Like all these things like that. It's fine. But yes, apparently The Onion, but it seemed to be an actual ad for subscribing to The Onion. So I guess they still print that.
I had no idea The Onion was anything other than a website that generated crazy headlines, and that was it.
I mean, I remember reading, I always knew it before that. I remember it being printed like at places and reading it. It was fun.
Oh, well, right on. Cool. Well, so yeah, we had our fun adult. I mean, we're all in our 40s, and in Greg's case, a lot higher. And we we had our dinner out, which was great. The next day was all like on my actual birthday. Kids and wife did stuff in the morning, which was great, gifts and whatnot. And then in the evening, all the kids came over, and oh, man, it was five girls, including my kids, and it was we're going to stay up until midnight and then go to sleep day. And oh boy, did they.
Did they go all the way to midnight?
They did. Well, one of them made it till about 11:30, and then she fell asleep. But then at 12, and they were all like, yay, it's midnight. She woke up and was like, all right, we all made it. Now go to sleep. Like, she was not having it. It was great. She was like, okay, time to go to sleep, everybody. So yeah, and I think it was probably around 1 o'clock when we were like, hey, stop the talking and the giggling. It's time to go to sleep. And that was just exhausting for us. Like we had to keep them entertained the whole time. For the, give or take, supervise and keep things entertained and answer questions and help with stuff. It was like 10 o'clock at night. They were baking cookies. It was crazy. Yeah.
Sounds like a party with a capital P.
I mean, it was. Yeah, so that was a whole lot of fun. But then and then the next day, of course, they all got up at like 7 a.m., right? And just started up again. It was all over by noon. And then after that, Martine and I were just like, oh, we're done. We are done. It was just like clean up and rearranging our furniture back to normal because they like built things. And it was just a day of recovery all day on Sunday. So yeah, it was a successful dual birthday weekend. Everyone was happy. There weren't many breakdowns. There was one towards the end, but I'm pretty sure it was because of lack of sleep. One of the kids, she was just like, she was having a time. She had a moment. She needed a quiet moment, and things weren't quiet. So, but that's how it goes with sleepovers, I guess. Did you guys go have many sleepovers as kids? That's not. I mean, is that a? It feels, if this is going to sound sexist, and it probably is. It feels more like a girl thing than a boy thing. But that's not necessarily true at all. Did you guys have sleepovers?
I feel like it's a middle class and upper class thing.
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
I don't think it's a sex thing. I think it's yeah, because I mean, I spent the night a couple of times at some friends' houses, but
but it wasn't like a party. It was just like you and one other person, that kind of deal.
Right. Yeah. And like, but my son has gone to party sleepovers.
Okay.
So yeah,
Devin?
Yeah, I
you know,
would stay at have a friend come over for a night or stay at a friend's house for a night. Sometimes it might be two friends that come over or like go to someone's house and then there's another friend stays over. I can only really think of one time where it was like a party, and I think that was a birthday party. So sleepovers, as in just like hanging out with a friend overnight, happened often, but not like a party.
Okay. Yeah, I went to like one in junior high, one like party, and it was like we had the garage and they had video games set up and food and like all this stuff was just like in the garage and it was stay up all night kind of situation. But other than that, yeah, it was just like one or two. Like one, I don't know. I didn't do it that often. I don't know what
we've done it.
we've done. Well,
Whenever
yeah,
Devin comes into town, we just hang out at your place and spend the night. And,
yeah.
play video games all night. And,
So Martine was telling me that it was like her and like a lot of her friends did it quite often. So that's why in my mind it's like a boy versus girl thing. But that's I totally hear where you're coming from, Ben, about it being a socioeconomic thing as well. Because man, did we have to supply a lot of food for these kids. They ate everything, except for dinner, which was Chipotle. And you know a little something about that, Ben, because we were like, we have too much food. Come over and have some, please.
Yeah. Thank you for. But it was funny because like we had just started putting stuff into the pans in order to cook it for dinner, and you're like, "Come and help," and I was like, "Hey, the birthday boy is giving me a directive. Like, sorry, gotta go, Nicole.
Yeah,
later.
My people need me to eat this Chipotle."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
I came back and watched Home Alone. So again, we're kind of going through, the holiday season stuff. So like we're watching Home Alone again, which we've seen a couple times with the kid, and now we're working through the Hawkeye TV show.
Right, because that
takes place during the holiday season.
Yeah. Jeez, Home Alone and Hawkeye.
Yeah, dude, Hawkeye is like, it holds up. At least this first episode, I was like, this is rad. Like, there's
the comics that it's based on were very popular. So yeah, I'm surprised it didn't hit harder than it did.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's just because it takes place after Endgame, and so Hawkeye, he's no longer Ronin, and his entire family that had been blipped are all back, and it's like his first Christmas back with his family,
Yeah.
And so like it really, there are moments where like he just takes a look around the table, with his kids, and like it hits hard as a parent. It's like, oh man, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
My son Nolan asked me, he's like, what would you do if an asteroid was going to hit the Earth? And I'm like, well, it depends on like how far away it is and what it's going to do to the Earth. And he's like, well, it's like a year away and it's going to destroy half the Earth, which I'm like, well, if it's going to destroy half the Earth, that's going to destroy the whole Earth. So I was like, well, I'd want to spend time with my family and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I would send a spaceship to stop it. I'm like, oh, you mean like, what would you physically do to stop it? Not like you're going to die. How do you spend your last moments on Earth?
He doesn't yet understand that an asteroid hitting Earth is an end scenario and not just a thing that could happen.
Not just a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, he was asking the question, how would you stop it? And I thought the question was like, well, if you were going to die, what would you do? So I completely misunderstood the point of the question.
I mean, either way, you have to show him
by talking to my family.
Either way, you have to show him Armageddon and be like, this is what we do. We get oil drillers and we train them to be astronauts, not the other way around. Can't train astronauts to be oil drillers.
Unfortunately, Bruce Willis may not be available to do this.
Oh, no, Bruce Willis is no longer Bruce Willis, unfortunately. All right, we've got a lot to do and not a lot of time. Let's get into it here, into our next section, Future or Now.
No.
I'm gonna go first because this. Thank you. That was such a fast echo. I loved it.
I tried.
I'm gonna go first because this is kind of ties into us in our kid era a little bit. I'm calling this brain go away. And this, I first saw this stuff on an Instagram post, and I was like, this group of maybe facts sounds super interesting. Where did they get this from? And there was no link to a source on this Instagram post. And I was like, all right, first red flag, but let's look deeper. And so I took the title and I just threw it into DuckDuckGo, actually. And it came up with a couple of other articles. One of them didn't have any sources. But then the third one I clicked on was from Newsweek, and that one does have sources. So that is what I'm going to base this on. So this was published on December 7th from Newsweek. Let's see, written by Daniela Gray. The title is, "It's Not Just Nostalgia, 90s Video Games Were Better for Kids' Brains."
Huh.
So yeah, this is super interesting. Let's see. Veronica, the leap between eras isn't just technological. It is psychological. According to two mental health professionals, the shift has fundamentally changed how children's brains develop, process challenges, and engage with reward. Veronica Lichtenstein, a licensed mental health counselor and former teacher, remembers the deep satisfaction of beating a 90s game. Quote, "a real victory," as she put it. "You fought through levels, memorized patterns, and finally saw the ending," she told Newsweek. "It felt like you accomplished something. Your brain gave you this solid, lasting dose of satisfaction, like finishing a tough project." Many modern games, she explains, flip that formula entirely. What looks free is often bait for microtransactions, $5 for a skin, or $10 to shorten grind time, for example. These systems are intentionally calibrated to create mild discomfort, just enough that spending money feels like the natural solution. Many games monitor every player action, feeding data back into algorithms that trigger well-timed nudges and, quote, "special offers designed to keep kids from quitting." Quote, "all of this creates a perfect loop for addiction," Lichtenstein said. "There's no real end, so you never get closure." She described it as junk food dopamine, quick hits that vanish almost immediately, training kids to crave constant stimulation rather than the slow, steady satisfaction similar to 90s kids. Does this sound familiar to you guys at all, being, Nintendo players from our youth?
Yes, but I also would say that it's not. It's nice that they're saying like many games, because it's not the entire industry, and having a 12-year-old that's into Silksong and Hollow Knight, it's like, no, those are the classic games that they're talking about here.
Yeah,
And
that have that you have to figure out, and then there's an ending to
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
and also it's a game that rewards perseverance. They're not easy games by any stretch of the imagination. They're not
Right.
meant to, yeah.
So to go to one of the other, both of these links will be in the show notes. The other one is from psychologyzine.com. And this was one that more echoes that Instagram post that I saw, but it has a lot of the same stuff in it. But again, there's no source. But I'm going to read through some of these because they felt real. It's feelings, not truth. And
did they do studies, or are these just psychologists saying that this is what they think is possible?
Okay.
Like, what data are they using to make these opinions?
All right. That's a very good question. The Newsweek article does not talk about any kind of study that was done. It's more like a examination of the differences. So let's see. One of the other things. Let's see. Games from the 90s offered bounded entertainment experiences, clear beginnings and endings, natural stopping points, and a design that encouraged social interaction. Kids would play with friends in person, then step away to run around, rest, or move on to another activity with no social media pressure, no endless scroll, no performance ranking systems. The experience reinforced healthy boundaries and confidence, not comparison or competition. Today's games, Gallagher said. Melissa Gallagher is a licensed clinical social worker and executive director of Victory Bay. I don't know what Victory Bay is, but there you go. Let's see. Games today, Gallagher said, deliberately erode those boundaries. Everything is a game or task, and the need for ranking gives them an inferiority complex. This generates pressure, erratic sleep patterns, and makes too much noise on their minds. Let's see. Gallagher also pointed out that the design philosophy of the 1990s centered on fun and completion, while the 21st century increasingly centers on retention and monetization.
Right. Yeah. No. The games of the 90s were set up with the idea of putting less content in it and making it brutally difficult in order so that you never saw the end, in order for Blockbuster Video to have you get the same game out weekend after weekend.
That's the like classic story. Apparently, I just learned this recently, but the story of the Lion King game was like that, was notoriously difficult, and it's said that it was specifically that way because Blockbuster requested, or the idea was that people would have to rent it over and over.
I mean, that's
and Jen mentioned that, and so we watched a playthrough of it, which only took like a half an hour, but the guy was like, he showed the tricks of how you had to beat it, but the second level does have like a very complicated puzzle. But I don't know how you would figure that out unless you just had a walkthrough of it.
Well, you would just have to do it over over and over again.
Yeah, this is the one where you're growling at all of the monkeys to turn
different, you have to flip
ways
to a different side, and then when you go through it, it shoots you through a different way.
Yeah, I've never gone past that level.
Yeah, exactly. But if you watch that video, he shows you, and you have to go like flip something early, flip through the level, change something at the end of the level, flip back to the beginning, flip something else, and then when you go through the whatever thing, it'll all be like unlocked properly. And I'm like, I never would have figured that out on my own.
Yeah, but like, and so that's a game that if you know what you're doing, you're done with it in 30 minutes. But you like, right?
Well,
so
yeah, some games were designed for different reasons. That one was not designed to be a fun experience. That one was designed to make you go over and over and over again. There's also games there are also games in arcades that had a very similar design where they wanted you to pump quarters into them, right? This isn't those aren't the type of games that we're talking about here. But go ahead, Ben. What were you going to say?
No, I mean, that's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Yeah. There was.
Yeah, so I guess like they're mentioning here like games like Tetris, Doom, Quake, and Zelda are the ones that they're talking about, and those like I don't know. Those are different. They're not all games from that era. I don't know. It's interesting.
It's interesting, and like the world that we're in now, like I find myself interacting with new games less and less, unless it's some like weird indie thing, because like the one time I tried Fortnite, it was an awful experience. That game was not for me. So it's a different, like the idea of, hey, you always need to come back for a reward. Fallout 76 did this, and it made me upset, where it was like, oh, hey, here's the thing. We only have 1 week to do the thing, and then the thing disappears forever. And it's things like that, where it's like, oh, I'm timed. I have to do this, otherwise I miss out. That FOMO, that stuff like didn't exist before. I think back to something like Mario 3, right, on the NES. Which it does get harder and harder as you play it, but also as you play it, your skills, very slowly increase as you're playing through these levels. There was never a point, I felt like, I'm remembering back years ago, but there was never a point where I was like, oh, this just got too hard. And now I need to, figure something else out. I find that games now, you've got a hold your hand tutorial for a very long time, lots of pointing the way of like where to go next. And then it'll get to a point where suddenly it's extremely hard. After, like, just when you're getting into it, boom, now it's really hard. And it's like, well, how do I make this less hard? I wasn't prepared for this. It's a very different world.
Well, okay, so like I see this as being well, okay.
I'm triggering Ben
there's so many
hard
things
right
here.
now.
Yeah, you really are, because I think about this a lot, right? Because like, you know, my son plays in Roblox, and that Roblox is the 21st century equivalent of the playground, right? Like whatever my feelings are about it, you know, I could be angry at Roblox in the same way that I could be angry about playgrounds having unsafe conditions, right?
Mhm.
Like that's where the kids are going to be playing, you know? So there's that, but I think that there's like, if anybody is concerned about all this stuff, it's not about the games today. It's about, think about how these games are being monetized. Are you playing a free game? Then the answer is you're probably going to get something where they're monetizing it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you, like, that back then, if they had the ability to have a living ecosystem of a game that would update and change and grow as time went on because of networking, then we would have had that, because that would have made money back then, just like it makes money now. So I also think that, like, labeling it games today, you mentioned indies. The indie scene is bigger than ever. There's 20,000 games that came out on Steam this year.
Jeez.
And most of them are indies. Most of them are based on the like, I'm sorry, not most of them. Most of the ones that I pay attention to are based on the foundational stuff that they're heralding as, you know, a great return for the industry here. I don't think that this is giving us a fair and unbiased view into the entire ecosystem.
So that's kind of my opinion, is that there are certainly elements of different games that are positive and negative, and they've probably done a good job of identifying those. But to use the examples of 90s versus now is very like nostalgia, and just very like, I can't even think of the word. It's anecdotal evidence. Like, this one person is remembering the games they played and the elements of those games, and I don't know what their experience is with modern games. A lot of what they said, sound rings true to me. I mean, with the like having to pay for things and there being certain rewards that are addictive. I looked up where I just had it and I closed it to look up something else. But the place that they worked at was a like a addiction like rehab center.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would certainly agree that that person probably knows what's addictive, and there certainly are elements of that in modern games. But the examples are just like, when I remember when I was a kid, these games were like this, and now these kids are playing these games. I think in an objective manner, you can identify the elements of those games, and there are probably plenty of games nowadays that also have those positive factors in them. I've mentioned before, I think we're getting Nolan a Switch 2 for Christmas. We've already bought it. But the game he is obsessed with playing and can't wait is Mario Maker. And I feel like of all the games, that's going to be on the positive side, because that's creativity and design and things like that. So, so... Also, I need some recommendations on what other games to get. Not now, but eventually, like what are good games on the Switch. I'm going to get Metroid Dread and probably Metroid Prime 4 eventually, but for me.
Yeah.
Here's
for sure
something that's kind of interesting. So in the other article, which does not have attribution to it, which is why I didn't start off with it, but it has a lot of kind of lists about stuff. And this is what first drew me to this area. So one, the fail retry cycle that built psychological hardiness. Children in the 90s played games built around one brutal rule: you fail, you start over, right? 3 lives, no saves, no hints, no checkpoints, no hand holding. It says games like Mario, Sonic, Prince of Persia, Unforgiving. If you missed time to jump or misread a trap, your progress vanished instantly. And according to this constant exposure created patience, planning skills, frustration tolerance, intrinsic motivation, and persistence after failure. So something in my life, I had the original Sonic from Sega. We found it on our Switch when the kid was like into Sonic, and I was like, "Oh, hey, this is the original Sonic. Check it out." And she played it for about 10 minutes. I was like, "This is really hard," and I was like, "Yeah." And then she put it down and never picked it up again, because it was like, I can just play something else. The availability of games is everywhere now, right? In the 90s, like, you went to Blockbuster, you rented that one game, or at Christmas or your birthday, you got that one game, and that's what you had for the year, right? So you could walk away, you could come back, all those kinds of things. So modern games remove.
What else is difficult?
What's that?
Minecraft is difficult. Play Minecraft creative mode. That has all the difficulty that you're talking about too. Like, it's not something that only exists in the 90s.
That is completely true. However, number 4 on this list,
not creative mode, the other one.
Endless games versus finite games, how attention was rewired. 90s games were finite. And this is we're generalizing. Yes, you can find a game that's not.
Yeah.
But you could finish them, you could turn them off, right? I finished Super Mario Brothers 3. I beat that game. It's done. Today's top titles, Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Genshin Impact, I don't know that one, are built to be infinite. No final level, no credit screen, no natural stopping points, constant updates, addictive reward cycles, permanent online environments. One parent
Minecraft has an end game.
The story mode of the survival mode of Minecraft, yes, has an end game.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I understand that. There's a quote, "My son never knows when to stop. The game ends him. He doesn't end the game." This creates a different neural circuitry, difficulty disengaging, craving constant stimulation, difficulty shifting tasks, trouble finishing long structured projects. Games are just different now, you could say. There's a lot on these lists. I'm still triggering Ben.
No, they're not. they're not different now. They're still, you want those games exist. They never went away from the 90s, and they're continuing to be made. There are a lot, like, this is causing a huge bias against the younger generation. That's like, okay, yeah, here's what I encourage everybody. If you're concerned about the younger generation, talk to them about what they're playing. Play it along with them. Figure out what
we can't understand what
they're
saying. All they say is 6, 7, and Riz. I don't know what that means.
It's because you lack the Riz, Devon. Yeah. Obviously.
But yeah, I agree with you, Ben, more. That's why I kind of asked, like, what studies in particular, because it would be very hard to isolate just video game playing. Because I'm sure people who play games like that are probably, like all of us, exposed to social media and watch things that are shorter and quicker paced, because that's most things are. So it's a whole cultural, design that has affected them to be this way. So it would be very hard to just isolate video games and be like, well, they played these video games, but every other way they lived, their lives not in modern society. So we know it's just the video games that altered their mind this way.
Right. Yeah, it's not the YouTube Shorts. It's not the TikTok. It's not the reliance on not like how it isn't how COVID completely changed how we live our lives. It isn't the death of the theater. It isn't like all of this stuff is creating. Yeah, it's creating different neural pathways for sure, but that's because everybody's adapting to a landscape where safety means something different now than it did back then. And
it's also funny,
consumerism means something different.
Because I'm sure you could find plenty of psychologists from the 90s saying, "Oh, these games are terrible. They're quick rewards and they're frustrating and they're not, developing these skills in our children." And back in my day, the 70s, when we played Pong, that was a real game.
Plato once said, and forgive me if I'm misattributing or any of this stuff, because this is entirely anecdotal, but I remember coming across where, like, somebody noted Plato had said, that the having the written word available, and having people write things down, means the death of us thinking for ourselves.
Just writing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, books
like
were considered a bad thing when books first came
literacy.
out. Literally.
Yes. Yeah. If you are literate and you're able to read somebody else's thoughts, then you don't need to think anymore.
If you can read the Bible, you know how flawed it is, as opposed to just listening to what the church tells you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't even know what's
but I
being
really wanted you to say
argued
I wanted
anymore.
you to say the famous quote from Plato, which is that Super Metroid is far superior to any other game made. So why are we even making new games? As Plato proclaimed.
Yeah, and tastes really good too when you eat the Play-Doh.
Oh my
as a kindergartner.
All right, let's move on. Links for the stuff I talked about in the show notes. Yeah. Let's see who.
We kind of crapped a little. Sorry.
No,
fun discussion though.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on. Devon, what do you got?
Well, Plato had a lot to say about quantum computing as well. So
I bet he did.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going off an article from Science Daily. It says scientists just found a way to tell if quantum computers are wrong. Researchers unveil a new technique that validates quantum computer results, especially those from GBS devices, which is a particular type of quantum computing, in minutes instead of millennia. Their findings expose unexpected errors in a landmark experiment, offering a crucial step towards truly reliable quantum machines. So, quantum computing is, a new technology that we're really hopeful will do a lot of things because it can compute, very quickly. The way it works, I'd probably have to look it up on your own. Basically, as I always hear, you got ones and zeros in the classic computer, but quantum states you can be in different states at multiple times, and so you unlocks more computing power. How that's done, I'm not exactly sure, but if you can use a quantum computer to solve something that would require a supercomputer thousands of years, how do you know the answer the quantum computer is giving you is correct if you can't check it any other way than using a quantum computer? So, and this article doesn't actually really say how they do this, because I went to their study itself, and I think because the answer is very, very complicated math, but essentially what I was able to try to figure out from reading the abstract is that it's more of a sampling type of method where you have the result from the quantum computer and you kind of sample different parts of its result and check those. And so, it's like if you can check a few different things and they're correct, you can kind of assume probabilistically that the entire answer is correct. And they even did this, they tested this on a result from a quantum computer and were actually able to show that the quantum computer's results seemed actually wrong. Let's see. To demonstrate their approach, the researchers applied it to a recently published GBS experiment. And GBS is a Gaussian boson sampler, which is just the type of quantum computer. So a GBS experiment that would take at least 9,000 years to produce using current supercomputers. Their analysis showed that the resulting probability distribution did not align with the intended target and revealed extra noise in the experiment that had not been evaluated before. But pretty much they put their new method to use. They took this prior result and they tested it, and they believe that the result that was previously published had these errors or issues with it. So that is interesting. It's very important, obviously, because if we're going to have quantum computing and it's going to do all these great things, we want to know that it's reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that so requires us to have like, we put in the same amount of, like, the same inputs should have the same outputs.
Yeah. So from the abstract, just to give you an idea of what they're doing, it says here we apply phase space simulation methods to partially verify recent experiments on Gaussian boson sampling implementing photon number resolving detectors. The positive p phase space distribution is employed as it uses probabilistic sampling to reduce complexity. It is approximately 10 to the 18th power times faster than direct classical simulation for experiments on 288 modes where quantum computational advantage is claimed. And it actually says they actually combine this with other methods, with binning and marginalization to improve statistics. Multiple validation tests are efficiently computable, of which some tests can be carried out on experimental data. So, math, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Interesting. Well, no,
All
I
that
think
really
it's-
is important is that they're making improvements in quantum computing.
Oh,
yeah.
well, then just say
It's
that.
important.
Well, no, like I think it's fascinating though, because like by my understanding, quantum computers rely on probability, right? So like the idea here is that if you're relying on probability, it's unlikely you're going to have a system that is 100% probably always going to do what you want it to do, right? Like it's going to
It's
get
like-
there. Yeah.
Yeah, if you use a quantum computer to calculate 2 + 2, it'll say 4 100 times, but it'll say 5 a couple times and 3 a couple more times. And so
Right. Yeah.
you got to be like, okay, we got to know which one's correct. Because like, yeah, and that gets into the whole nature of quantum, that, you know, particles exist as a probability wave, not as a particle until observed. And that's the whole reason quantum computers work. They're taking advantage of that. How? I don't really know, but
Yeah.
Well, nobody does,
Right,
right?
but, like-
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
We're still learning.
I mean, the
so
people
how-
working on it have a pretty good idea. I mean, to implement it, you got to have some understanding of it. But
Mhm. Yeah, but like it's interesting because it's like, okay, well, trying to find a way to check your work there. That's cool that they're working on that, right? Because otherwise, as they say here, they would need a classical computer to take years to validate like what a quantum computer could take seconds to do. And it's like, we don't have years, to figure this one out. We need to know, if we're going to be relying on quantum computing, we need to know that like the answer is correct. Yeah. So interesting.
Well, most of the time the answer's correct. Isn't that good enough? I mean, it's either that or you have to wait 20 years for an answer. So do you want an answer that's 99% correct now, or wait 20 years and then be 100% that it's the answer?
If you're buying a quantum computer, would you accept that level of a variability?
Depends on what task I'm going to use that computer for. If it's video games, then
Yeah.
sure.
it's the whole thing: cost, quality, time. Pick two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's got that time
So-
thing down. The rest of it, though, we'll have to
Right.
see.
Yeah.
Ben, did you want to go over yours, or are we going to skip ahead?
Super quick.
Okay.
If you're interested, a few years ago, there was the Icelandic High Voltage Electrical Pylon International Design Competition happened in 2008, and a particular thing called the Land of Giants won and the recognition award. And so the basic idea here is it's a proposed design for electrical pylons, those giant towers that carry electrical lines across landscapes. And so across the Icelandic landscape, this particular design, it suggested that we redesign these in order to look not like towers, but like people. And they're really cool looking. If you're really interested in what that would look like, check it out. Links will be in the show notes because they're pretty rad.
Those do look cool. Yeah, check those out. All right. Well, we are 40 some odd minutes in, and we're going to take ourselves a little break. When we come back, we are going to be doing our book club. And this week we read Dark Air by Lincoln Michael or Michelle. I don't know how to say that. So find your copy. There's a link in the show notes. Granta.com. It's on there. To read along. Give yourself some time. It was a good 15, 20-minute read, something like that. It's not bad for a short story. So we'll be right back. Hey, you. Yeah, you sitting there listening to this for free, like some kind of podcast freeloader. Look, I'm not saying you owe us, but if you enjoy our deep dives into AI, space, and comic book mayhem, maybe toss a coin to your podcasters. Join our Patreon, get into our Discord, grab some exclusive content, and finally achieve that deep, satisfying sense of superiority over your non-Patreon listeners. Just imagine their sad, uninformed little faces. Patreon.com/Science Faction Podcast, because knowledge is power, and power is best hoarded behind a paywall. And we're back.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
And a big thank you to our patrons, Renee and Josh. Y'all are great.
The best.
Yeah. Next week, we're reading The Red Thread by Sophia Samatar off of Lightspeed Magazine. If it's anything like the other Lightspeed Magazine stuff, then you can probably listen to the episode of the podcast, which is only 36 minutes long. Yeah, looks like you can.
Oh, excellent.
But
Cool.
And just
that's not
scrolling
what we're
through
doing
it,
this week.
it looks shorter than this week's. Just kind of
yeah.
looking at it quickly. This week,
It's Dark Air by Lincoln Michelle. And hey, Mom, this one's a really good one for you. You'll love it.
she's into this kind of stuff.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, as we all know,
this one feels...
our number one fan, Martha, always reads. She always reads our short story recommendations because she's awesome.
Yeah. But this is like a very Stephen King, Clive Barker-esque body horror, sci-fi adjacent story.
Yeah, this is very different than what we usually do, but I liked it a lot. This was originally, published in 2015. And what is that? National... photograph courtesy of National Institute of Health. The photograph at the top of this article or this story looks like cells reaching out and grabbing other cells, perhaps like a electron microscope type image. It reminds me of what are they called? T cells? The cells that will like put out tendrils and like grab the bad stuff and pull them in and digest them. I think that's the T cell. I could be wrong. Kind of looks like that. Anyway, so yeah, this story a little bit longer than what we have been doing, but I think it's worth it. But it's creepy.
It's a quick read, and like it feels. What was that one story that we read about the two towns where everybody had like latched themselves onto each other and made like giant
flesh robots,
moving necks. Yeah, flesh robots that fought each other. Like this kind of has that vibe going on
for sure.
Yeah. Like the way it's written, like it, that, hey, this is very matter of fact. Here's what like the narrator is experiencing and what's going through their head at this time.
Was that a Clive Barker story? The other one?
I think so. Yeah.
It might have been.
Yeah, I think it was. This does have that matter of fact, like this is just what's happening, and it's crazy. So like the main thing here is you've got these three people in some kind of weird relationship, live in a city, and they're like, hey, we need to get out of town and get a little air. And so they start driving. It was a place where they could get good selfie, or the top 10 secluded spots for selfies is where they're going. What's crazy is like the disconnect between these people and real life. And then later on, like when weird things happen, the even further disconnection. Because like they needed to get a little air, some country air. But a few hours later, we were rolling through the hills. We'd been in the car this whole time, and we had the windows up, AC blasting. We hadn't yet felt the country air. So like
Right.
they're going
Yeah.
out for a reason, but that reason is not real, right? Like one of them's like, oh, you never see green like this in the city. You live by a park. The park is green. That's a fake green. I mean, real green. This is the green that's good for the soul.
These kids have been playing too many of those microtransaction video games.
I
Yeah,
Obviously.
these
mean,
kids were annoying.
yeah, these kids were. I
Kids,
mean, we say kids. They never really say what their ages are, do they? I mean,
They're
I
like
would imagine like
early
20
20s.
somethings or even older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's also
like
what
early
was in my
20s.
head, but I don't remember it specifically saying that anywhere.
But they do act like children, which is part of it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
he's like, my lover, I went with my basically girlfriend, but she's in the back seat with her roommate. Like, I get that there's an issue and they don't have a great relationship, but it's just like so obvious. Like, who drives and the other two people sit in the back seat?
Yeah. It's weird. And then it gets weirder. At the top of the hill, I saw a white goat standing on a rock, its horned head twisted to follow our car as we passed. He had some wound in the middle of his forehead that looked like a misplaced eye. Maybe it's time to head back, I said, but no one responded. Yeah, that was a warning. Yeah, so let's see. This is still at the beginning of the story. Like, I don't know. We can't go through step by step what happens, but
Right. The basic gist is a creature jumps out in front of the car, or hits the creature. The creature does not appear to be from around here.
right, something's wrong with it.
It's the flesh is all scaly and pink. It's got a bunch of like spikes coming out of it, and then a bunch of like kind of eyeballish looking things everywhere. And
Real body
and
horror
then-
stuff.
yeah, and it smells really sweet, and so it's not flies that gather around to it; it's bees, and the bees start to gather around it, and then they start stinging our protagonist and another member of like the roommate of his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and
They're just
they
roommates.
start developing some allergic reactions there.
Yeah. So the car's wrecked.
Yeah.
The roommate is stung a whole bunch, and then they find like a local nearby, the Skintleys, and they seem like weird hippie people. But they don't know. Like one of them keeps calling them like hillbillies, but they're like, they're not really hillbillies. They're more like hippies. And to me, that's more of like, you guys are missing the point. Like, why are you arguing about that when this weird thing just happened? And they're like dressed weird. It's a vibe. It is a oh no vibe. But it's like parents and a kid, and they're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, we need help. They're like, there's no help around here, but we'll help. It's like and then things just get weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah. I guess that's the question: is do we just get to the end of it so we can talk about it and just be, because I mean, it brings you along the ride. I definitely recommend, if you haven't read it, read it. It's a propulsive read. It's not a quick read, but it grabs you and pulls you along, and you're
sure.
there, but we get to the end. It turns out, after all the stuff that's going on, that we've found that the hillbillies have been eating off of the flesh of a downed visitor from another world, and they've developed telepathic abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The bees that have stung the narrator gave him telepathic abilities, but the bees that stung the allergic
roommate.
reaction that the roommate had was in order to transform him into a spaceship so that the creature could escape from being held by these hillbillies. And they end up killing the creature kills the mom of the hillbillies. The people, like the narrator, kills the dad, and then they take the young girl, the like 9-year-old that's living with them, and they go live together happily ever after.
Give or take. Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
The telepathy stuff is interesting because when the narrator kind of taps into that, like one of the first things he hears is, "We don't know yet if the flesh of the star fallen is for them. The crow bitten has the aura, but the other two are likely just allergic to bees." And you're like, "What? What's happening here?"
Which is also not correct.
Yeah,
that's their best guess.
Yeah,
Right?
so
And,
like that informs us that they also don't know what they're messing with. And this thing likes electricity. Another
it duplicates itself, through electricity. Like it feeds and reproduces through electricity. So they jab it with a cowpoke or whatever.
Cattle prod.
Cattle prod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not, this is something else, psychic. I'm not violent, darling, George's voice said. But if you don't listen to your mother, I'll have to pull out the respect belt. Like that was brutal. But then the narrator said, "Hey," I said, "let's all calm down." I immediately realized my error.
Yeah, because they were speaking in their heads and he was responding out loud, and that's when they realized, oh hey, this person's unique.
Yeah, it's a wild ride, and it ends like how Ben says it ends. It's just the other the writing style of this I think is really interesting as well, because there are a lot of breaks. There's a lot of like scene changes. There's a lot of fast forwarding of time. It really like has, and by having that, it gives the story this kind of sense of motion where like things are happening quickly. And I appreciated that in a short story, because you don't have time to like do a bunch of stuff, and it just kind of lets you imagine, oh, that stuff happened in between breaks, and we didn't need to be, bogged down with it. It's kind of how it felt. Devon, you haven't talked much. What did you think about this story?
I felt kind of the same way you guys did. I liked it for the most part. It was pretty weird. I didn't really love the characters, so I was just not didn't care what happened to them that much. But yeah, no, it was an interesting story. Yeah, just another weird stuff happens in the woods and turns out to be aliens.
It's like something crashes in the woods, and then the hippies find it. And it seems like maybe they tried to care for it and then realized, hey, if we eat this, then we get powers. I don't know. All of that is left up to your imagination.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because a large part of this reminds me of Pluribus, of the joining.
Yeah,
especially right at the end, right? So so little Clover, the 9-year-old girl that was part of this, that now lives with the narrator. She she's asking what happened to my second daddy? She asks me, when's he coming back to take us away to a planet that isn't full of jerks? And
same kid, same.
Yeah, I say it probably died in those woods. I don't bother lying to her. But Clover, I say, even when we die, we never truly go away. I don't mean that hogwash about friends and family living on in our memories. I mean that creatures like Clover and me, those with the star-falling flesh inside us, are not restrained by these bodies. When we die, even the worms and bugs that inspect our remains become touched. Our life force multiplies inside them, creating yet more vessels that crawl through the dark soil with new purpose. They spill out onto the green grass to scatter and grow and spread.
Yeah, that was very Pluribus-y. Everyone being part of this one thing and having a purpose.
Right? And it was just it was. Yeah, I don't think the characterizations are interesting here. They're fine. They fit the story, but it's merely a vehicle for determining what is happening biologically through this thing. And oh man, it was so cool.
It's got this Cthulhu-esque thing going on where this alien thing is so unknowable that it's horrific. and yet the people that are exposed to it are like, we don't understand either, but we're part of it now. And like,
Yeah.
that's so horrifying.
They're making their choices and moving along with their lives and, doing what best they think there is. Like they think that they're helping this thing out, that it's a mutually beneficial experience, even though they're keeping it in a cage. And you find out that theoretically, I mean, assuming that what the narrator thinks is happening is true, which is a big assumption, like that it wants to escape and go into climb into an organic spaceship and leave.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's actually what's happening, but that's like
there was nothing
two different groups
malicious from anyone, really, right? It seemed like the alien just wanted to escape. The people just wanted to like try to help it in their own twisted way. Right? Didn't seem like there was anything. I don't know the proper wording here.
No, I think, like it's, assuming that we have, like, the one part of it that we don't know, despite there being telepathy, is really what's going on with the alien.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and this is two groups that are trying to make sense of the experiences that they're having and the telepathic visions that they're getting, and trying to do what they think is best, but seeing very different ways of going about it.
Two different explanations of the unknowable.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Good short story. Good bit of sci-fi. Leans more on the horror aspects of things. But hey, there's an alien, so it's science fiction. All right. Those are the rules. I don't make them up. All right, guys. That's going to be it for this week. Remember, next week for book club, The Red Thread by Sophia Samatar, which is that's a cool name. I don't know. Anyways, so links are in the show notes to all this stuff. Check it out. Experience it yourself. In the meantime, perhaps Devon has some thoughts to share with us.
Nope.
Okay. Ben, do you have any last words?
What is a pirate's least favorite letter? Well, and I quote, "Dear sir, ma'am, we are cutting your internet connection due to the following reasons: illegal downloading."
Good night, everybody.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.